On the Lewis Automotive Group hotline right now is the one and only Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio, morning host 6 to 9, and the king of college football talk. So, Bill, this is what do you think's going to happen tomorrow? An uncapped portal begins tomorrow. What sort of craziness are you expecting, or are you not expecting craziness?
Well, and a July 1 deadline to grandfather this in. It has a chance to be the wildest bucking Bronco we've witnessed. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that, but it could get really crazy.
Be crazy in terms of the number of players that end up in the portal, or the names that end up in the portal, or is it just because it's a feeling of a wild, wild west and an untamed frontier?
I would say the overpayment to players could get wild, because if indeed July 1 is the hard deadline and everything's in-house after that, you've got a $20.5 million cap for your whole athletic department. You can't be chucking $4 million at somebody. It's a different era we're going into. And if you do want to get a collective involved outside of that, you've got to go through a clearinghouse. And at least we are told, guys, that the clearinghouse is not going to be clearing that kind of stuff.
How are the Tennessee Nation taking this? Is it more like, hey, if you don't want to be here, then we'll find somebody else that is? Or did they see Nico as like a generational talent that could lead them to the promised land? Is there a disconnect with some of the fans and Josh Heupel? Like, I guess what I'm saying is, what side are the fans on?
I would say typically they would be hurt. But it was such a betrayal, it's almost good riddance. I think that's where they are. Because when you no-show Friday at the end of spring, before the spring game on Saturday, and you ghost everybody, and they can't get hold of you, then you've hit the point of no return. There is no return for the player or Tennessee. Tennessee can't take him back in. You imagine that locker room? You'd be held hostage if you did that. So I think, again, guys, it was such a impersonal betrayal and disrespect that I think everybody's just washed with it. Now, guys, Tennessee's got some real issues on offense that they've got to deal with, and this is part of it, but I think they're willing to take the consequences.
Where? All right, so now they need a quarterback, and I would look at there's two sides to this. Now Iamaleava is going to go out looking for a job at quarterback, and there's an opportunity for somebody to come into Tennessee because they just have a couple of freshmen who've taken a handful of snaps or something. So is there could Tennessee upgrade? Right, we don't know who will be available, but this is kind of what you're getting at in the wildness of this, and the idea too of. Well, you know that they're not going to be paying $4 million for whomever it is they sign, but they could upgrade, right?
Nico Iamaleava, with a lot of upside, has not lived up to that yet. Now, he's just a true junior coming up, and I'm not going to erase the possibility that he could achieve that. But to date, he has not been the player that we thought he would be. And his worth, supposedly right now, in the open market isn't the 2.5 he was making at Tennessee or the 4 he wanted, but about $1 million. Now, guys, we know that could change. But as of right now, that seems to be the case. And they've got 2.5 a year that they were paying him freed up. Now, I don't know if they want to use all that or not. But, guys, they've got a couple of young quarterbacks that are not ready. Jake Merklinger's a 4-star, going to be a second-year guy coming up, and then George McIntyre is a freshman. That's it. And they've got questions at receiver. They've got questions at offensive tackle. You lost the best running back in the league in the Player of the Year in Dylan Sampson. They've got a lot of issues. But, yes, they got to go get a quarterback.
You know, Bill, I'm a Josh Heupel fan. I think I've told you that. What is his plan? How do you think he responds? Hey, I mean, to get this offense going, he's kind of got some challenges going forward.
No question. And that team, that 22 team that was so good with Hendon Hooker and 2 first-round talents at wide receiver, just loaded. And you probably can't duplicate that yearly, but they have dropped off precipitously since then. And we'll see. But they've got lots of areas to fix, but they've got to go get a guy that can lead them and also fit into that spread out offense that Heupel runs. It's not all that complicated, and it's heavy. People think it's a passing offense. It's really probably more of a running offense. It's just that little A-gap run, and they succeed on it almost all the time. But you've got to get a guy. A couple names I've heard: Avery Johnson at Kansas State, maybe the Beck kid at Iowa State. Now, again, they've done nothing. Avery Johnson, but no news yet on who that could be.
Bill, I explain a little more about this July 1st deadline, because I understand that's when the calendar flips for college athletics, really, from one year to the next. Is it the idea that if the settlement is not approved by July 1st, then you can't abide by those rules in the next sports calendar year?
Technically, yes. July 1 is the date if the settlement goes through, where everything is now in-house. And inside the new law, if you will, is a $20.5 million cap. Now, that is for your entire athletic department. And throwing crazy money around won't be an option like the lawless mercenary environment we're in right now. They also tell us you don't have to get rid of collectives. They're not barred, but all of those deals got to go to a clearinghouse. And I think that's going to be a problem. That's why you've got this vicious front-loading run that's possible heading into July 1, because everything you get in before then is grandfathered.
Bill, you know that Nico's younger brother, Madden, is at Arkansas. He's at spring ball right now and competing for, I think, third string or backup. And just reading into Nico's situation at Tennessee, it seems that this is a family where the father makes the decisions and the rest of the family is expected to follow suit. Now, I don't know what that means for Madden's future in terms of Arkansas, but what do you know about the dynamics of the Iamaleava family and Nick, the father?
There is no agent, although Nick is the agent, if that makes sense. He's the one calling the shots. He's the one that makes the decisions on the money and if it's satisfactory, and he's made a lot of mistakes. And if I'm Arkansas, I'm sure Arkansas is very aware of everything, much more than we think. But better watch out, because the dad is bad news.
When it first came out, it looked like Nico was going to go be a Tar Heel. Does Belichick make a splash? Does he go out and get a quarterback to run year one there in North Carolina up there on Chapel Hill, or does he already have somebody?
Yeah, they took a transfer. They took a transfer. Heck, Ole Miss, who has the Simmons kid as their starter, took a kid from Ferris State today. Now, I don't know they promised him he'd start, but some interesting moves.
You've been watching any college baseball over the last weekend? Vanderbilt bounced back nicely, and man, it scored double digits. But I didn't know was in them in order to at least pick up a win over Oklahoma.
I watched the Tennessee-Ole Miss series. Tennessee literally, I don't know how they won that series. In Game 3, they had 6 errors. The infield, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, unless it's a Little League game. The infield looked like they were scared to field the ball, the Tennessee infield, and somehow they pulled that game out 10-8. But, yeah, I watched Arkansas, Georgia, a bunch of that. Watched A&M, who's really got the bats going, a phenomenal comeback. A lot of good ball. LSU got swept by Auburn. Auburn's a good team, but I didn't expect that. Wow.
Texas atop the standings right now, too. You know, I mean, Texas goes the farthest in the college football playoff. Right now, they lead the SEC in baseball. And, you know, you look at the two sports that Texas has always specialized in, and they've come into the SEC and competed just kind of, I guess, the way you might expect.
No doubt. Very attractive team. And we've got a stretch run here, guys. It's going to be fun. Tennessee's trying to bring back A.J. Russell, who's a first-round talent who's been out a year. He's pitched a little bit. I think they're going to move him to the weekend. That might help them. Their bats have been good, but not as good. It's going to be fun.